What up? Welcome to the podcast. I didn't put up my little please stand by. I didn't do that. And I didn't start the show. And yeah, that fucked my world up all over the place. Anyway, I'm just making a random video right now. I know my hair is on fire. I don't care. Anyway, so in one of my favorite books is Dune by Frank Herbert. I think it's one of the greatest fucking books of all time. Ah, god damn it! Come on, focus on me, you bitch. All right. Anyway, Frank Herbert's Dune's one of the greatest books of all time. I really, really, really love reading it, and I've read it several times. I've listened to the audiobook versions of it. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. It's I've been steady loving that book for since a month before I joined the army. So and then in Iraq, I read that book. I read all the subsequent books that were related to that book. And anyway, so the reason why I'm bringing up Dune is because in that novel, there's a scene where one of the main characters, Duke Leto Atreides, he gets I don't want to get too into what happens because I don't want people, I don't want to ruin it for people. But give me 1 second. I'm sorry. I'm being such a dickhead. Anyway. Anyway, I'm sorry about that. So God damn it, man. Anyway, so in that book, right, in Frank Herbert's Dune, there's a scene where Duke Leto Atreides, or Leto, however you want to pronounce it, he gets trapped. He falls into the trap, whatever. And crazy shit happens. He ends up dying, but as he's dying, it breaks it down. It's really cool scene. Even though he's dying and he's a great character, and it's a shame that he's dying. But the last words that he hears in his mind is something like, actually, I think I'm gonna quote it directly. The day shapes the flesh, and the flesh shapes the day, right? So I took that to mean, think about it. The day shapes the flesh, and the flesh shapes the day. If you really think about it, you don't really got to think about it that hard, but ultimately, the core of what they're saying there is that whatever happens throughout the day, that's on you. You make the day. And in a weird way, the day makes you too. And god damn it, man, what the fuck is going on here? Anyway, the day shapes the flesh. The flesh shapes the day. Anyway, we're live here, so technical difficulties be happening. I'm also ate up, so I'm just not that good of a person, so shit happens. Anyway, yeah, so look, today my flesh shaped a really shitty day. Unfortunately, all I did today, usually I go out, I run, I do some kettlebells, I read, I do little gigs here and there, and today I didn't do anything. Today what I did was I drove to a supermarket, and I traded in a bunch of cans that were lying all over my place. Actually, not lying, but a bunch of cans that I had been saving, because there's this, you can recycle cans at my local Price Chopper, which is a supermarket in Massachusetts, and I guess all over New England. And yeah, you can trade them in for money. So I saved a bunch of them, and I filled up my backpack, my rucksack that I use for camping. I filled it to the top, and I got $2. Which whatever, it's fine. That you know, um, I did it more for the fact that it's cool that I stuck garbage in a machine, and it gave me a little bit of money. I think that's really cool. Otherwise, though, other than that, I didn't do shit, and yeah, I feel shitty about it. I don't like I don't know. Um, and I really, really realized that I can't be happy lying around doing nothing. And you know, I've been depressed before. You know, when I got back from Iraq, I was super depressed. Actually, ruined a really great relationship that I had, and yeah, and it really still hurts. You know, because there was a lot to that relationship, and I lost it because of depression, and then whatever. I went into the desert, realized da da da. Anyway, I'm just starting to. I mean, I'm still depressed, and you know, my issues aren't completely resolved, but I feel like I'm making efforts to resolve them now. And in doing that, I've realized that there were a lot of times where I just was lying around and not doing anything, just wallowing in my own depression and my own stink for days on end. And you know, yeah, I didn't do my hair today. Whatever, I really didn't give a shit today. But usually, I have really strict. Um, Nowadays, I have really strict modes of doing things because I realize that if I don't have that, I will just fall back into the bullshit. And the bullshit is depression and PTSD from my time in the war. And I don't really want to get into it. I don't really want to talk PTSD here. Because it's still something that's very difficult for me to come to terms with and to realize it. I only recently started coming to terms with that. Anyway, it's kind of intense, but and I didn't mean this podcast to be intense at all. But look, anyway, this is the deal. You gotta seize the day. You know, because the day does shape the flesh, and the flesh shapes the day. And you can't. We as humans, you know, we as humans. I was listening to this girl, Diana Davidson, something like that. She's this Canadian men's right activist. And I'm personally, I like to listen to controversial things, forbidden knowledge, so-called forbidden knowledge and things, because you know, men's rights activists are hated. So I'll listen to them, even, you know, and they have some points. You know, there's a reason why there's men's rights activists. You know, I personally, you know, I've been. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into it, but I'll just say that I personally just don't hold on to. I'll put it like this: my culture is composed of mental objects, and I'll just keep it at that. But anyway, this girl, this female men's rights activist, Diana Davidson, who I think that's her name, who's actually pretty cool. I like her voice. Very reasonable person. She was talking about. I was watching a video that she put out a couple years ago, but I was watching it today, and she was talking about how one of the things of life, one of the good things about life is that, and the thing that makes us human, and that is something that we really need to really look forward to, is movement. Humans constantly have to move. And I agree. Humans and I don't mean move like up and down and shit like that, but I mean humans have to move in the sense that we always have to be going forward, and we always have to be evolving and changing and things like that. And like for me, I've been struggling with depression and PTSD and things like that for years, but and in the beginning I wasn't moving. Somehow I reached rock bottom to the point where I had to move my ass. A fire was lit underneath my ass, as we like to say in the army, and yeah, I was pushed. I was pushed to start moving forward, and it was slow at first, but the more you do it, the better results you have, and I think it's very important. It's you cannot underestimate the importance of moving forward, and actually I don't know if they have this in English, but there's this Spanish. She's Cuban, a Cuban exile actually. She used to have a talk show in Univision called Cristina. It's named after her. Really good talk show. It was around for like 20 years plus. But at the end of every single episode, she would have this saying. She would say, I can't really remember it now. I'll say it in Spanish and I'll say it in English. Maybe it'll jog my memory as to the formula in which it was said. But she said, nunca, no, siempre adelante y nunca para atrás, ni para, I can't even remember it, yo. But basically, the idea of it is always move forward and don't even take a step back, even to launch yourself, So don't even walk back to even launch yourself. Just always move forward. And I agree with that. Because the thing about mental illnesses and things like that, mental illnesses, problems, health problems, just problems that maybe you might not be able to solve, or maybe you will solve them. You might not shake them, but if you move forward in your life, then you'll be closer and closer to shake those problems. You'll find a solution to your problems. You will always find a solution to your problems if you think hard enough, and even if you don't think hard enough. I was talking to my really good friend. I don't even want to say his name here. Anyway, I was talking to a really good friend. He's been on the podcast before, but on the Facebook edition, and so you probably find him there. But anyway, me and him were talking, and yesterday, what the fuck were we talking about? I can't even. I lost my train of fucking thought because I keep on ranting about shit. Oh yeah. We were talking about how we always want to start a business, and we're always saying, hey, yeah, we should start a business, this and that, but we never have an idea for a fucking business. And he's always on my ass about that, and on all our friends' ass, like, you want to start a business? Well, what the fuck? Mad people want to do that. That's not the hard part. The hard part is coming up with an idea. You got to come up with an idea. And I was thinking, you're right. And coming up with an idea isn't the easiest thing, especially if you're coming up with an idea specifically because you want to start a business. Not the easiest thing. But if you do research, then eventually something will come up. And that links into the whole moving forward thing, if you move forward, if you do research, if you do things, other things will come your way, in Spanish they say, el que no se menea no se viene, meaning he who doesn't shake doesn't come, You gotta move to come. You know what I'm saying? You gotta move to come. It's kind of a vulgar saying, but I like it. And it's very true. You know, you gotta shake to come. You have to do the research to be able to have the technical knowledge to come up with ideas. You gotta move forward with your life to be able to shake the problems in your life. And those are very important things that we have to realize as human beings. And oh man, you know, I don't want to be a big boner about this kind of shit. Uh, I have a degree in philosophy, whatever. So I have pretensions of being a philosopher, uh, but not to get all philosophical. But it's true. It's important. It's part of the curriculum of the School of Hard Knocks. You have to, yeah, you just have to be active. You have to actively live your life, or else one day you're gonna be in your deathbed. And this is cliche. This is super cliche to say, but it's true. You're gonna be on your deathbed regretting shit. And I already know that I'm gonna regret shit. I'm gonna regret that relationship falling apart because of my depression and some, a couple other things. I'm gonna regret it, but I'm moving forward, and hopefully, all that crazy adventures I've had throughout the world and throughout the United States, and just in life in general, they might not make up for those things, but it'll be less regret. And I really